Nobody's coming to your party. Grow up. That's what my mom decided to post on my birthday in our family group chat. I read her message twice. Sat with it for a second. Then I typed a simple reply, understood. Right after that, I opened my banking app and shut off the $2,300 monthly rent payment I'd been sending them like clockwork. The following morning, I drove over to their place. Didn't even knock. Just hit the key fob, reclaimed the car they'd been using for 2 years, and left without a word. Later that day, I contacted the bank and shut down every single credit card they'd ever used, cards that were all under my name. It wasn't an act of revenge. I didn't do it out of spite. I did it because I finally realized I'd been playing a part in a story I never agreed to star in. The silence that came after wasn't confusion. It was that deep, paralyzing kind of shock that sinks into your bones, the kind that only shows up when something's really, truly over. This wasn't me throwing a tantrum or making some dramatic threat. This was the door finally closing, and this time, it wasn't opening back up. They didn't think I'd go through with it. They figured I'd pout for a bit, maybe post something vague, and eventually go back to normal. That's how it always went before. But not this time. Because this wasn't the first blow. It was the last straw. It was the final line in a long, humiliating story where I'd never been a son, just an account balance with a name. I was their personal ATM. A background character with a wallet. I'm 28 now. I live in a modest apartment in southwest Denver. I work IT support for a healthcare software company. Not flashy, but it pays the bills and keeps me steady. For a while, I really thought we were past the worst of it. I let myself believe maybe I'd done enough to be accepted. That maybe, just maybe, I'd earned a real spot in the family again. But they weren't looking for proof. They were looking for silence. For obedience. Gratitude, even, for being allowed to linger around what they still had the nerve to call a family. What really hit me wasn't even my mom's message. It was how everyone else just let it slide. My aunt reacted with a heart emoji. My sister dropped a cake emoji. My dad? He forwarded a meme of a clown with the caption, "Guess who's turning 12 again?" Not one person asked if I was okay. Not a single soul said happy birthday. I just sat there, in the dark, staring at my phone like an idiot. And the saddest part? I wasn't even upset. I was just floored by how long I'd let it all continue. I've been covering their rent since I was 24. Not because I was wealthy. Not because they ever asked with kindness. But because they made it feel like a duty. This is just temporary. You're the only one who's stable right now. We gave you everything, now it's your turn. That temporary turned into 4 long years. Every month, I paid for everything: rent, groceries, gas, Wi-Fi, home repairs. Even their cats' vet bills. Not to spoil them. Just to avoid the guilt trips that always came when I didn't. Then there were the group chat messages, passive-aggressive nudges in disguise. Power might get shut off again. Mom's back is out, no idea how we're gonna move. Emma's car broke down, and she really needs to get to work. Can you help? That last one, Emma's car? I bought it. She still drives it. Still posts selfies in it. One of the captions read, "Grateful for real ones who support me." No tag. No mention. Just vibes. Emma's my little sister. She's 25. Unemployed. But somehow always traveling. My parents say she's just finding her way. Apparently, she's been finding her way through my checking account. One time, I asked my dad why she never pitched in. He said, "She's not like you. She's not built for pressure. You are." That line stuck with me. Because I was built for pressure, they made sure of it. But even the strongest pressure vessels crack eventually. Last Thanksgiving, I drove 5 hours just to surprise them. I brought wine. Groceries. A pie. I knocked, kind of expecting a smile or maybe a "Hey, good to see you." Mom opened the door, blinked, and said, "Oh, you came." Then she called out over her shoulder, "Emma, tell Josh to hide the gifts, your brother's here." I said, "Who's Josh?" She just laughed. "Emma's boyfriend. They've been staying here for a bit. Josh had my old room. I slept on the couch." At dinner, Dad raised his glass and toasted, "To the man who pays the bills but still can't keep a girlfriend." Everyone laughed. Emma laughed the hardest. I didn't say anything. Just sipped my wine. Helped with the dishes. Paid the plumber when the sink backed up. Because, family. A few weeks later, Emma posted a selfie with Josh in front of a mountain cabin. The caption read, "Family trip. I hadn't been invited. Didn't even know they'd gone." I found out when one of my coworkers, someone I'm barely close with, asked, "Hey, wasn't that your sister on the Explore page? That trip looked amazing." I checked. There they were: Mom, Dad, Emma, and Josh. All smiles. Matching beanies. Holding mugs. I zoomed in on the mug Emma was holding in that picture. It had this cheesy little custom print on it, "Best daughter ever." The irony nearly made me laugh out loud. They didn't text me once during that whole trip. Nothing. Total silence. Then, the week they got back, I received an email, not from them, of course, but from my landlord. Just a polite reminder, rent is due tomorrow. Turns out, they skipped last month's transfer. Didn't mention it. Didn't apologize. Just assumed, like always, that I'd cover it. And I did. Because I always do. That's how they trained me. But this time, I remembered it. I didn't let it slide. And then things got even uglier. I was working from home one afternoon when my phone started vibrating like crazy. The family group chat was lighting up. I assumed something serious had happened, maybe someone was in the hospital. Nope. It was my dad. He'd posted a screenshot of my Amazon wishlist with the caption, "Look at this grown man asking for socks and shampoo for his birthday. LOL." Then he added, "Guess we didn't raise him tough enough. Can't even buy his own lotion." Ashley, my cousin, replied with some half-baked joke. Uncle Mark chimed in with a photo of toilet paper. "Here you go, champ." And Emma, of course, had to top it off. "He probably expects us to gift wrap this too." I just stared at my phone. Not because it hurt, I was way past that, but because it was so damn expected. They didn't even pretend to hide their contempt anymore. They truly believed I'd never push back. And, at that moment, they were right. I didn't clap back. Not then. But I did start gathering screenshots, voice notes, bank records, every bill I'd paid, every time they'd lied, every shady moment where they used my name on documents, or used my credit without asking. I even found out, completely by accident, that my mom had used my credit score to apply for a loan. When I confronted her, she just shrugged and said, "It's not a big deal. You weren't using it." When I told her what she did was illegal, she snapped, "Don't threaten me, Mr. IT man. You'd be nothing without this family." And as if that wasn't enough, the following week I learned Emma had been telling her friends I was on the spectrum. Not true. But believable enough to stick. She said it made me easier to explain. Still, I kept my mouth shut. I kept working. Kept paying. Kept pretending everything was fine. But behind the scenes, I was building something. Quietly. Carefully. And they had no clue. Because when you build in silence, your explosion doesn't make noise, it makes aftershocks. That moment came, of course, on my birthday. Again. 2 weeks after the group chat stunt. 2 weeks after the mountain trip they never invited me to. 2 weeks after they defaulted on the rent. That's when they reached out. Emma texted first. Hey, Mom says to come by tonight. Family dinner. I didn't reply. Just left her on read. 10 minutes later, my dad called. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. We're trying to move forward. That's what they always said when they wanted me to forget something they'd done, move forward. Code 4, shut up and act normal again. This time, I said sure. But I didn't show up alone. I arrived right on time at the house I helped repaint, the same place with the fridge I bought. Had a duffel bag in one hand and a backup drive tucked into my pocket. Mom greeted me like nothing had ever happened. Dad tossed me a beer like we were pals. Emma smirked like the victory was already hers. I sat down. Listened to their version of events. They talked about healing, forgiveness, and how I'd lashed out when I canceled the rent and froze the cards. Then Mom dropped the line that finally cracked it wide open. You're still part of this family, but you've made mistakes too. I took a long breath. Then reached into my bag and pulled out my laptop. Set it on the table and opened a folder labeled Truth. Dad scoffed. What is this? Homework? I didn't respond. Just clicked play. First clip, Mom's voice, shouting on a voicemail from last year. You better grow up and pay your sister's tuition before she ends up like you. Next was Emma's voice, on speaker. He's always been weird. Just let him pay for stuff. It makes him feel useful. Then came the evidence, screenshots of transfers, bills, Instagram stories where Emma bragged about spending my money. I flipped the screen toward them. They leaned in. And froze. I stood up, walked to the kitchen, and came back holding a USB stick. Plugged it into their smart TV. The screen lit up. A loan application appeared, Dad listed as the primary borrower. My name is the co-signer. Only, I'd never signed a damn thing. I looked it dead in the eye. You used my social without permission. You tied me to your debt. He opened his mouth to explain, but I raised my hand. It's already reported. Fraud investigation is open. You'll be getting the letter next week. Mom gasped. Emma laughed. Oh my God, you're so dramatic. What's next, you gonna sue us? I smiled. No. But he is. And then the doorbell rang. I walked over and opened it. Standing there was Jake, Emma's ex. The one she claimed assaulted her. The one she nearly destroyed. Jake stepped in, holding a black folder, and sat down across from her. You want to tell them, or should I? Emma's face went pale. What are you doing here? She hissed. He opened the folder. Inside, screenshots of fake messages she made to frame him. A picture of handwritten notes on how to emotionally break him down before the breakup. Even transcripts of voice memos she'd edited to make it sound like he was the abuser. Mom started crying. Dad just stared at the wall like it wasn't even real. Emma stood up. You two are insane. This is harassment. Jake cut her off. You're not the victim here. You're the villain. And I'm done pretending. Then he stood up and walked out. I followed Jake to the door. Then turned back and said the last thing I would ever say in that house. You wanted me to play the role. The good son. The quiet wallet. But now? I'm the one writing the script. Then I picked up my laptop, grabbed my drive, and walked out. Behind me, chaos. Mom yelling Emma's name. Dad shouting for me to come back and fix this. Glass breaking Emma, probably. I didn't look back. Because when you finally detonate the truth, you don't stick around to admire the ashes. The next morning, I uploaded everything. Not just pieces. Not just select quotes or edited messages. The whole archive. One post. Title: When Family Treats You Like an ATM with a Heartbeat. Inside the link. Every transfer. The forged loan application. Emma's faked messages. edited audio. Screenshots of her breakup strategy notes. Mom's voicemail, screaming about tuition. Dad's Thanksgiving joke about how I couldn't keep a girlfriend, but somehow kept the lights on. I didn't ask for pity. Didn't spin a sob story. I just wrote facts. Receipts. And one final line. I'm not angry. I'm not sad. I'm just done pretending this is what family looks like. Then I posted it. And turned off my phone. By noon, it had gone viral. Not tabloid viral, but enough to sting. Thousands of shares. Hundreds of comments. Some from strangers. This is exactly what I went through. My brother did the same thing. You're not alone. This level of receipts is insane. Go off, King. Others came from people I knew. One guy from high school commented, I always knew something was off about your sister. This confirms it. I didn't reply. Didn't need to. The post was doing the talking. By 3 p.m., my aunt, the same one who heart reacted when Mom insulted me, posted her own status. Air your laundry in private. Family doesn't belong on the internet. 0 likes. Emma? Posted a black square on Instagram. Caption. Betrayal hits hardest from the people you once fed. I almost laughed. Then Dad went live on Facebook. Yes, Lev. From his garage, the one I helped patch the roof of. He looked straight into his phone, voice shaky. My son's been manipulated. He's mentally fragile. He doesn't know what he's saying. Behind him? A neat little stack of beer cans. He rambled on about forgiveness. About how families make mistakes. About wanting to heal. Then his old golf buddy commented. Didn't you say he forged your signature once? Dad liked it. And that was his biggest mistake. Because I had the video. 3 years old. Dad on the couch, beer in hand, telling Emma. It's fine. I used his social. He won't notice. And even if he does, he owes us. He wouldn't be alive without us. I posted the video reply. No caption. Just the date. Then logged off again. But behind the scenes, I wasn't just watching them burn. I was building. Launched a YouTube channel that same week. One video. Straight to camera. Title. When helping becomes enabling. No names. No dramatics. Just my voice, steady, clean, and cutting. You can love people and still walk away. You can help people and still be used. And when they finally show you what they really think of you, believe them. It hit 400,000 views in 3 days. Then came a podcast invite. Then another. Then a third. Then a publisher. I wasn't chasing clout. Wasn't trying to build a brand. But the truth? People were starving for someone to say out loud what they were scared to whisper. Mom tried one last play. Sent me a photo. A letter from the mortgage company. They'd defaulted. House under review. Her message. I hope you're proud of yourself. I didn't argue. Just sent a screenshot of her name. Attached to every dollar I'd sent them in 3 years. $84,392. 15, caption. You took it. Not me. She left me on read. 3 hours later, an unknown number texted me. Emma. Just one line. I hope you never have kids. You'd be a terrible father. I smiled. Not because it was funny. Because it was pathetic. They were cycling through the usual toolkit. Rage. Guilt. Shame. Threats. Everything but accountability. And none of it worked. Best part? I moved. Quietly. No announcements. No forwarding address. Downtown condo. 10th floor. Bought through a legal trust. Fully paid off. New view. New number. New silence. They tried calling. Tried asking around. Didn't work. Because I wasn't just done with them. I was done with the idea that I owed them anything. Not my money. Not my time. Not even a response. A month later, I changed my number. Not because I was afraid. Because I was bored. I got tired. Tired of the guilt-laced voicemails. Tired of Emma's cryptic Instagram captions about narcissistic siblings. Tired of Dad's drunk 3 a.m. emails that always started with "You don't know how hard it was for me" and ended with "Let's profit off this mess." They weren't reaching out to make peace. They were reaching out to reclaim the story. But I'd already taken it. Bled it dry. Buried it. They just didn't notice the funeral. I didn't disappear. I upgraded. Condo. 10th floor. Modern. Clean. Cold. In all the right ways. Tall ceilings. Quiet neighbors who mind their own lives. No family photos. No fingerprints from old lives. No spare key under the mat just in case. I told no one where I lived. Not even close friends. Because this peace, this silence, this wholeness, wasn't something to share. It was something I earned. I furnished slowly. One chair. One table. One piece at a time. No debt. No rush. No permission needed. I remember that first night. Standing barefoot on the cold tile, coffee in hand. Made with my machine, in my kitchen. And it hit me. No one here's going to yell. No one's going to guilt me. No one's going to ask for money, or favors, or just a little help this month. No group chats. No fake birthdays. No inside jokes turned into weapons. Just silence. Beautiful, earned silence. I went full-time with the business. What had once been a quiet side hustle became a foundation. Understood Consulting. Named after the only word I texted my mother on my last birthday. I built the site in one night. Designed the logo myself. Secured the domain. Filed the trademark. It wasn't about making a statement. It was about never again asking for space to exist. Now, I help others walk out of the same cages I was raised in. I speak. I coach. I listen. And I stay private. Because my life isn't a reality show they get to watch and rewrite. It's not a redemption arc they get to hijack. It's a fortress. With gates. And codes. And peace. 3 weeks after I moved, I got a manila envelope in my P.O. box. Mom's handwriting. Slanted cursive. Floral stationery. Red ink. You used to be our sweet boy. I don't know who this bitter man is. We made mistakes. But airing them like that? You humiliated us. You ruined us. Maybe one day you'll grow up. Maybe one day you'll understand. I'm praying for you. I didn't cry. Didn't rage. I flipped the page over. Wrote 3 words with a Sharpie. Keep your prayers. Then tossed it in the trash. 2 days later, Dad emailed. Subject line, idea. What if we went on Dr. Phil? You tell your side, I tell mine. We make peace. Audiences love father-son reconciliations. Think about the reach. Could help your business. Maybe mine. Attached? A photo of 5-year-old me at Chuck E. Cheese. Crying. While he grinned for the camera, beer in hand. I stared at it for 10 minutes. Then saved it. Not as a keepsake. As a reminder. They don't want peace. They want a platform. That night, I uploaded a video. No background music. No effects. Just me. They keep asking if I'll come back. If I'll forgive. If I'll make peace. But peace doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending your abuser had it hard, too. It doesn't mean pulling up a seat at the same table that once fed you shame. Peace means absence. Of chaos. Of noise. Of their names. I'm not your son anymore. I'm the consequence. 2 million views in a week. A few days later, I was leaving the office. A couple stood by the door, looking at the sign. The woman turned to me. Are you him? From the story? I nodded. She just said, thank you. I didn't think people like you existed. That moment meant more than every birthday I spent begging them to remember. Because I didn't need their applause anymore. The world is full of people who were lied to by people who claimed to love them. And now, I'm proof you can survive it. I haven't spoken to my family in over a year. I don't plan to. They still post. Still hint. Still rewrite. Let them. You don't argue with ghosts. You just stop haunting yourself with their stories. And sometimes, late at night, I pass the mirror in my hallway. Catch a glimpse of myself. Older. Still. But not bitter. Just unchained. Because I didn't escape a toxic family. I outgrew it. And there's no coming back from that. Ever. The plaque still hangs in my office. Steel plate. Brushed finish. Perfect screws. We don't rebuild what broke you. We build what frees you. Underneath it now? A smaller sign I had custom made. Guess who's not turning 12 again? And every time I see it, I smile. Because this year? The party's mine. And no one uninvited gets in.